So here's just an encore take two question. So Michael, think of yourself over the years that we were working together and you were considering doing this and you pulled the trigger and made that step. Is there anything now that you're a year in that if you could go back and talk to yourself, either from the very beginning or from a year ago, is there any advice that you would have for those advice for those that are considering this? What do you wish you'd known then that you know now?
Well, I guess I think there's two things. The first is, and I think every franchisee says this, which is, God, I should have done this ages ago. Why did I wait? And, I have the same thing, right? I mean, yes, I should have done it earlier. Um, the other thing is that, I feel like my background uh, bodes well for being a business owner. Uh, I have my education, my experience, and my life before being a business owner, everything was kind of geared towards this. So for me, I think it was pretty easy to see that that was eventually what I was going to do. I think the harder question was to figure out what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. And I think a little bit had to do with my wife and I went into this together. And so making sure that we both were comfortable with that decision was probably a bigger part of it than I maybe give credit to. Uh, I think it's important that when you're going through this process, like we talked about during the question and answers, that it's important to understand what your value proposition is, what you're putting into it, because you are going to put in a lot of time. And depending on what point in your life you are at, some of us have a lot of time to put in, and others maybe value that time because we have young children, or you're trying to operate another business, or whatever it may be for everybody. And I think it's important to understand that the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, obviously. The one area I would say that I think is challenging for a new business, we talked about marketing. Marketing is easy. Marketing, there's a recipe. You just follow the bullet points. It's pretty easy. It's probably a little bit more challenging when you have a retail location because you have obviously a few more steps for that menu. But that part's easy. What I think is a little more challenging for the average person who's starting a business is the accounting side. The taxes, the accounting, to make sure that you're up to date on all of your licenses, the renewals of those licenses, the tax rates. If you have a location, then obviously the tax rate's the same. But if you're operating and you're operating like a junk business or something like that, or our fitness machine stuff, we're operating in different tax areas every single appointment. And those are areas that you have to learn, you have to eventually understand, and you have to keep up with. And I think that a lot of businesses, when they start out new, they think they can just manage everything themselves. And I think that that's one area that a lot of people tend to not value as much as they should.
Thank you. Appreciate that.